So just arrived. This is Folly Lake, and this is Phil and Pascal's newest lake. Ideal for 1 or 2 people. Real pretty, clear water. Nice bit of weed, massive clear area over there. Unknown stock really. It's been fish caught to over 50 pounds, which will do. But anything will do, to be fair. It's lovely and clear. I'm definitely going to get the boat out. Go and have a look. It's very nice. It's a little jeep with power, and the water's only just started to recede. So yes, I've got this for the week. I'm very excited. I can't wait to get stuck in. Interesting, these gulls have been at it for about an hour and a half now, and that is my spot there, exactly where it is. I put some smaller items out there. It's a deep hole, deeper than you think. It's got a big lead on it. It takes a while for it to get to the bottom. Eventually I'm gonna get out there with my snorkel and mask, but I want to catch a couple of fish first, really, if possible. But the fact that they're eating whatever it is that's coming up actually right on the spot rather than over here, because obviously whatever's coming up are going to be tiny food items and they're going to drift, so that tells me there's probably some activity down there. Now it could just be loads of little fish. There's plenty of rudd in here, pumpkin seeds, I've seen some tench, so it could just be them grazing on the bottom. It could be carp, so I'm not going to reel in. I will reel in eventually, because again, because there's so much weed out there and then it drops off, you're worried about line lay. So you don't want to be fishing loads of lead core and tubing, because unless you go out, and I'll use the boat to have a look and put bait out, but I'm not using the boat to cast. I really don't like doing that. If the spot was absolutely tiny, if it was like the size of, you know, I don't know, really small, like this small, no, you know what I mean, I would probably use the boat. But it's deep out there. It's a fascinating lake. So there's a lot to it, and the margin down here is clear. And like I say, most of it's just full of weed, which you could only really put a chod on, or just fish long hook links over the top of it. But these clear patches are clear. There's about 5 or 6 good clear patches dotted around, but that's the biggest one. It's the most obvious. So obviously I've got rod and bait on it. It's a good place to start, but I've only been fishing since 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon. It's only 10 o'clock in the morning now, so it's just a lovely place to be. There's 5 or 6 really big grassies that I'm doing a lap and they're sort of following around me. But I've seen some really nice big fish over and underneath the margins over there. I'm convinced there's quite a lot in the hole, but getting good presentation in there is difficult because it's so deep, and then like I say, you've got weed coming out of it. Really, I'd like to pump a bag in there, and as it hits a clip almost over, you want it to set so that the line is coming gradual over there. I think everyone must cast in there, and then if the line lays crap, you're not going to get a bite. There's 5 or 6 big grassies, and I've seen fish probably to 40 plus. All commons, I love commons. I will catch. The weather is cooling down, which is great, so I'm looking forward to it cooling down a bit. Might even get some rain later on in the week, so I'm just going to relax at the moment, prime some margin spots, try and get them on the deck. They're just up on the water the whole time, just milling around. They're not really doing much. I'll have opportunities, just maximising them. I know what people are the same. If you get comfortable just sitting in the same spot, I'll plug in away. I would no doubt I'll catch it, but just sit there and do nothing. But having the lake to myself, I can creep round and prime some spots, which is ideal. And the fish look great. Big plated commons with big scales. They're probably very old fish, because like I say, when Pascal and Phil bought the place, it was an unknown stock, and yeah, it's exciting. It's just a case of prepping spots now. This lovely little lake really is gin clear. You can see everything. Yeah, it's pretty nice. I just need them to get their heads down, which hopefully they might do when it cools down a bit, because at the moment they're just not really bothered. Come on. I've had a hell of a day watching fish, and now I've had to resort to Skid Row just to calm down a bit. I've seen some epic fish today. I've just been watching them all day. Amazing. Now the swan's gonna ruin that spot, but never mind. It's crazy, crazy. Some big fish, and I've just spent the whole day watching them and getting sunburnt. Now I'm gonna blast a chod right over in that corner, because they just keep topping over there, but it's in quite a lot of weed. But happy with the other two. Gonna put a bit of effort in and try and catch a fish. It's crazy though. Mad place, big fish. It's just, some of the commons are just huge. I've seen about 8 or 9 big grassies, which some of them are 40s, but the biggest carp I've seen is easy 50 pounds. Big scaled commons, beautiful. It's one big mirror I've seen, but mostly commons. But it's a hell of a place. It's just lush being able to watch them. It's mental watching them. It's great. Bigger than anything, but probably the smallest fish I've seen all day. Just glad I caught them. That was on a chod right over in that corner. I just saw a few fish topping out there. I put a bright pink chod on there and wonged it out. Job done. happy days. This is the most amount of time I've spent watching fish for some years, because it's just gin clear and I've got a lake to myself. They follow in the wind. They don't get their heads down too much. They will. They come down and feed, but they're very obviously spooky off the margins. But the margins, you just spend so much time watching them. It's absolutely brilliant. It really is. And the weather's looking great now. It's cooled down a bit, so it's all good. They do move around too, but they love the margins. Awesome. See if we can get a bigger one, although this will do. Fantastic. See you later. Well, I'm completely soaked. Don't know why I've got my waders on now, because they are ruined. Wiped out another rod, but that was worth every second. I can have a shower now. Have a coffee, I think. So after catching 2 in the weed, like I say, hopefully I'll get some more drone footage, but I'm keeping bait going on that bit because it's such a big, clear, beautiful area, and that's the only place I've put bait with a boat. And I've had a rod on it most of the time, and it's I've been done by tufties, but it's a deeper hole, very big, about the size of my van plus the bivvy, and it's rock hard. So I've got to keep a bait on there. Silly not to. But the fish I've had have both been as far as I can lob a big lead towards that corner on top of weed. I can't get it anywhere near the margin sensibly. If I scaled everything down, blah blah blah, yeah, all right, I could, but where they were topping is actually in the weed. So I'm fishing chods over there, and I've had both fish over there, a low 20 and a 34. And they move around a lot, so I've baited up on the right hand side. There's a lovely load of reed mates over there, and in front of that is loads of gravel. Slopes about like this, but you could put a bait on it. So I've put a load of corn over there and some small baits. So I'll put a bait over there. I'm gonna have to row that over there or creep round. I like the idea of creeping around and stalking, but they're so it's just gin. They see you, they just see you. So yeah, at the moment, just tying more chods, and I'm tying more because I do like these kamakuris, but they obviously you get one fish out of them really, but this seems to be the sort of height I'm fishing it at. Oh Christ, like quality editing. Obviously that's not done, I need to do it properly, but that's basically the sort of size and the height off of the weed I'm fishing. It's quite weedy, and I do want it sinking reasonably slow, so it's sitting on top of that weed, and it's working well. Obviously I've had two runs, 2 fish. As kingfisher just flew past there, and then the other rod I'm just going to keep on little baited areas, but the most fun would be to catch one on the little 9-foot stalking rod, which I'm determined to do, but they just see you coming a mile off. But I will persist with that. But my hook bait choice is obviously these bad boys, which everyone uses them now, and they are brilliant. They really are. They just are. And I've had one on each actually. So yeah, all good. I think one person on each bit, and then you can cover all the water, and then you've got half a lake, and they do move around a lot. And yeah, you can then store. You could have 4 on here, but 2 is perfect, and it is just lovely. You know, it's another string to their bow, because they've got lots of different lakes here, big lakes with big fish of varying degrees of difficulty. But yeah, this is definitely one of my favourites.
Oh no. So really excited that I've just been playing this fish. So let's see the weight of this fish.
32.
33. He has had a 34 yesterday. 33 coming.
I thought it was a bit bigger than that. It's just very,
Yes, me too. Yes,
it's really,
it was,
really
yeah.
long. Nice. Just a second. Really tiny fins.
Well, that was very interesting. I've just been in the water for about an hour with the snorkel and mask on. Whew. And yeah, where the weather's, it's mad. It's like when the sun's out and then the cloud clears, it's 20 or 22 degrees, something like that. But as soon as it goes in, you notice it drops quite quick. It's just changing all the time. Bit of drizzle yesterday. And it's 5-6 degrees at night. So it's very changeable. Interestingly, I went out to a couple of the holes. And you look at them and you think, oh, it looks clear because there's weed everywhere, and then you can see the holes. So you dive down, and some of them are 12. I think the deepest probably 12 to 13 feet in a couple of them. But you can feel the water very cold in these holes, which is why the fish aren't in them at the moment. They're around the margins and all over the place. But in the winter, I think you should fish in the winter in those holes, not necessarily in the holes, because everyone thinks you need deep water for the winter. I don't agree. I think it's all relative to the temperature, outside temperature, the weather, and all sorts of stuff. They're always going to be looking for warm water, but in the winter, when it's all cold, as cold as that is now, that should be a bit more stable at the bottom there. So those areas would be somewhere. I bet they sit there. That's why they're kept clean, because I bet they sit there over the winter. But yeah, I was trying to follow some carp around, saw some big perch, but I did film it, but the sun kept going in and I'm not quite sure how well the footage will come out, but I'll have a little look, and I'll definitely go in again, and certainly when I finish fishing at the end of the week I'll go in and see if I can find any snags or anything I can pull out while I'm here and be a bit useful rather than just mucking about. But good fun. A lot of the time now, I must admit, I just leave my stuff set up like this. So that's got a chod on it, obviously, and I've caught on this rod. That's been over the weed. Obviously these are I've just pulled these down because I'm packing it away, but I like leaving these set up because I can change that. I put one of those little you know, weights on there, so that's a decent balanced chod. So if I go anywhere, I know I can stick a chod on, obviously slide those beads up wherever, stick a lead on and I'm fishing, but equally I can take that off there, slide these back down and put a stiff rig on or another rig, and it's just brilliant. I wouldn't fish a zig on this, obviously it's too prone to tangles, but from switching to fishing on top of the weed with a chod, or fishing a clear spot with a helicopter rig, you know, traditional stiff rig or a braided rig on here with a stick on it or whatever, it's just quick and easy, and they are brilliant. And that's what I do most of the time. It's just, like I say, you can change what you're doing really, really quick. No leader, no knots, nothing, just simple. But to be fair, the weather, now it's got massively overcast and windy, they've changed their behaviour loads. They're just hiding underneath the far bank now. And I've crept around there trying to stalk them, but they can see everything. And I haven't got the patience, to be honest. I just thought, oh. So I've come back round and I've put a lot of Pascal and Phil will supply you with maize if you want it, and that's what they've been fed on. So like I said last time, I was just a different lake on the complex. I was just throwing stick, big boilies and catching loads of fish. But I'm not saying that won't work on here. But when you get here and you book a week on here, you just, well, if you're anything like me, you'll just walk around for hours. And they're catchable. Like I say, I've had 5 lost big grassy in the weed. But I think if they were really on it, you catch quite a lot of fish. They haven't spawned a couple of weeks ago. And you know, they're, I think if you come in a month, say August onwards, I think it'll be a result. I'm not saying you won't catch now, because I've caught some, but yeah, it's fascinating. And I have had them on chods in the weed. Now I think partly that's because they can't see anything, because when you're out there and you're in the boat and you can see everything, a lot of what I was fishing over just with a single chod is just with a bright yellow pop-up on. You can't see any of your tackle. Literally, I've been out in the boat and looked, and it looks perfect. You get it so it sinks and it just sits on top of the weed out there, and it's just the whole of the area is matted with weed. So it's quite nice to present a chod. Always perfect, and that's what I've had all the fish on. I haven't lost one on a chod either. Like I said, the only one I lost was fishing in the hole, and it just steamed through loads of weeds. And that's now I've moved down here. Look, so I've moved down nearest the track, because they were up and down. This is loads of gravel all along there. It's gravel all the way along, and they do come up and down there. And I haven't fished this bit yet, but during the day they love coming on that gravel, but it's crystal clear, so they can see everything. Literally, I've had them right on top of me stalking, and they're just like, oh no. What you really want is just those sort of stones leads, or I've got leads that are this colour, but it's dropping it in and I haven't got the patience anyway. And to be fair, if I was a lot younger, I'd probably go and bivvy up and get really low behind these bushes and do a night and drop a rod in 3 of them gaps. You'd definitely hook fish, but I can't make you get eaten alive over there at the moment with the bugs, and that's not for me. So I've moved down here, and I've got one right tight in this corner, where it's quite deep. This is one of the deepest areas, this sort of corner, and then it shallows up on the gravel. But it goes down about 15 foot out here, 12 to 15 foot in areas. And I've just, same again, that's the same rod from up there I was catching all the fish on, so I've just re-put another chod on there and put it as far as I can, fishing on the weed. This one is over towards the reed mace, and I've put a lot of maize over there on the gravel, and I'm fishing just off it, and I've got a pink on there just to see if they'll take that, because there's a lot of maize. I thought I'd stick a pink in there. I'm gearing up for tonight really. I'm not expecting anything. They're not there at the moment. Most of the fish are up and down here on the far side, and you can watch them and see them. It's fascinating. And like I say, there's big fish in here. There's a couple of 50s been caught. You can see, that's where my rod is there, and that fish just rolled. They keep rolling, and this is how I caught them last time. I sat and watched them for a few days, and they kept rolling in the same place on top of the weed, and I just kept chucking singles at them, and that's how I was catching them. So I'm hoping I can do the same thing with this one. Mildly confident that will go off actually, because that's how I've been catching them all week. But like I say, there's not hundreds and hundreds of fish in here, but I like that. There's enough for, you know, a group of people to come and catch fish, but it's the whole point of, you can just see them and you can creep round, and stalking is stalking heaven. You know, you can have a real nice social here, barbecues, etc. Fridge for everything in there, freezer, the lot. 2 big double swims, and if you wanted to, you could have 4 people. I'd fish, you know, you could have 4 people with 2 rods in each swim. Yeah, that's on. It was almost a live take. I bottled it and chucked the phone down, but I have got one on, but I'm not going to... In a few months' time, they're in really good condition. They really are. Thank you very much. That's awesome. Hopefully I got him on there somewhere. Oh, lovely job. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Look at that, mate. Thank you. Wow. It's 4:30s now. Very happy. I literally was fishing out the back of the van, came up here, walked round, had an hour stalking, thought, no, this is no good. And then they kept topping. Well, 4 times I fished, literally dead in line with that rod. Probably 5 wraps off the far bank. There's the gap where there's the big corner, and then there's the first gap, and then it's in between the 2 trees this way, and that's where they kept rolling. They're on the weed. I swam out there a couple of days ago when it was sunny. It's quite thick weed, so my chod's sinking. It's a good curve on the chod, and it's sinking relatively slow. And to be fair, that's why I think I'm getting confident takes and I'm landing this, because they're taking it well, because that's all they can see. There's nothing else there. I think on the gravel, you can see when they come along, you want monitor fluoro hook links and next to no gubbins and stuff, because they'll see it. Oh, I've watched them watch it, you know, when they flank and they the fins stick up and they go, oh, hello, there's something wrong there. I'm sure at night it'll be a bit different, but that's just a result. I love it when you move and you catch one. A lot of people go, oh, sod it, if you're here on your own, you could boat across there, but there's so much weed to drag them through, it's not worth it. So it's fantastic when you make the effort and move and you catch another one. Awesome fun. So that's what I'm catching them on. And then I'm putting it on, and then just so it's easy, I've got a balancing weight on there. So there obviously is nailing them every time with the Kamakuras, and but that's it. You got to take it off. So every time I did have 5 tied up, and I've used them all, so I've got to sit and tie a few more up now. But yeah, just slide that on, and away you go. I'm fishing the bead 2.5 foot above. There's a bead there, and then yeah, that's doing the business. So I'm well happy with that. Well worth the move. Oh Christ! I'm not sure if I'll get anything on the gravel fishing on the hard stuff tonight, but I'm now confident I can get hopefully another one on the chods. But it's working really, really well, and I'm just fishing singles. It's fantastic. And I'm fishing Scent from Hell. These obviously they're everyone's favourite pop-ups now, aren't they? Surely. And that's got I can't remember what I put on there, but I put it on there ages ago, and it's really minging. I think it's pineapple goo, and I put it on there ages ago, and I've had all the fish bar one on that. But yeah, awesome fun, chods in the weed, and I think it's a real edge because like I'm convinced that's why I'm catching them, because then there's no fear, they can't see anything. The water's so clear, they come across that in the weed, and all they see is the bait, and then they're just nailing themselves on it, and it's just working a treat. So hopefully I'll get some more. Big fish. Thank you very much. Just hope I haven't soaked the camera. There we go. Look at that. Beautiful. You know, everyone knows you've got so much stretch in your line, and you've got so much bend in your rod. These are only 3.5s, which I think helps in these little lakes as well. And just powering it until it got halfway, and then you sort of ease off a bit, and then walk down here, get the net ready, get it in the net, wait in the water, don't even take it out, job done, that'll do me, and I'm so happy. Unbelievable. It's a serious place, man. It's right up my street. Yeah, you can go, there's loads of lakes here, and you can go and fish some of them, and at the right time of year you might catch 100 fish in a week between you. But I've done all that years ago, and it's great fun. That's more of a social sort of thing for me, going and, you know, barbecues, beers, all that sort of stuff. But trying to be teetotal, have had no beer all week, so probably why I've tried a bit harder. Started off down there, caught some down there, and I did think this is what I was going to do, so I've followed a plan, and it's just paid off royally. I was happy just catching what I was catching. I've had double, a 20, 4 30s and a 40 now, and a backache. But yeah, that was it. That was the one. That was it. Just amazing, just unbelievable. So, it's worth sleeping in the van. It's only a short wheelbase, because I haven't got much space at home, but I can sleep in it. More comfortable than this, but I've got all my stuff in here at the minute. Wow, that was amazing. So much fun. Also, I think it's easier to get a decent curve when you double it over as well. I have used them like this before, but I pulled, I don't think I've thrown it away now, but I pulled tight on a spinner swivel, and the little bit you hook it on, that came free, so I thought, sod it, I'll just double it up and tie it onto one. So that's what's going out, and that's what I've just had the 40-pounder on, just the same as that. Simple but amazingly effective on top of that weed. Like, in the week I went out in the boat and looked, and you can just see the pop-up sitting nicely on the weed, so it's perfectly presented. My bead is about 3 foot above the lead. Yeah, just fishing singles, no bait around any of the fish I've caught. So I'm back in the van now, just had an omelette. How confident I was, I didn't put the rods, it's 15 metres that way, and I didn't put the chod back out until I got back, because I thought last time I was in for 5 minutes. Giving it the big one over the other side. Big cast for me. I like fishing at long range, but bombing at long range is like, I'll just use a boat if there's one available. But great fun. I was happy just catching what I was catching anyway, and just honestly, just it's one of them venues where just being able to, it's such an adventure, because you can see the fish, you can creep round, you can watch them up close. It's amazing, just learning, and I'm learning all the time. And yeah, I did go out in the boat the first day I got here and realised how weedy it was. But then when they're rolling on top of the weed, you think, well, I just cast it at show and fish, and that's how I caught the first one. I just kept doing that. So I'm not putting any bait around the on the weed, none. Just 2 areas where I've seen fish show in the week, and that's where I've caught all the fish. And I've tried to stalk one out the margins, and I failed basically. I haven't got the patience nowadays. I just watch them for so many hours feeding, and then I go around and get a rod and come back and sort of scale it down as much as I dare. But it's so weedy, you can't waste your time here mucking around with real light line. You could with, there's some big perch when I was snorkeling the other day. Big perch, easy 3.5s, might even be bigger. and there's a few big tench as well. But yeah, fascinating, absolutely fascinating. And that's just made it, to be honest. Catching a 40's just absolutely made the trip. Not that I was having a bad time before, the time's just flown by. But if you come out here, like I say, people tend to be put off nowadays because there's not a million fish in here and there's not 84 40's and stuff. Sad state of affairs, really. But it's perfect. You know, you could bring 4 people here and double up in both swims, bit of a social, and you could bait all the marginal spots, but you've got to be on them rods. You can't, if you've done up in a bivvy in the middle and you've got rods, you'll lose every fish. And I think that's what happened with a party previously. I think they had quite a lot of runs and they lost most of them. I think I've landed 7 fish, lost 2 in the weed. I know I haven't lost any tackle. That's the main thing. Which, you know, and there's a boat there, so, you know, if you get caught up in the weeds, you go out and get it. I found when I was snorkeling, I found a hell of a length of line with one of the OMC ready-made rigs on and all that sort of stuff. And it's like, it's just so much line. You think, well, how the... Anyway. But yeah, it's been amazing. I haven't finished yet, but I have... It's raining now, and I've got the bivvy down yesterday. Slept in the van last night. Probably do the same tonight. I've prepped the margin spot again with some maize, and I've put a bottom bait on there this time. Match the hatch, basically. Well, it's a cell bottom bait with a tiny bit of corn on top. That's as much as I dare. And if they get back on it like they did this morning, they were ripping it up this morning. And but then I hooked the fish, so I saw it all went a bit carnage after that. But yeah, it's just a, you know, it's a lovely place. I think if it was just a generic 5 acre lake, 4 or 5 acre lake, coloured, full of 30s and 40s, yeah, it'd be fun, sure. And it'd be good for socials and holidays and people trying to get away from their horrible lives and all this, that and the other. But still, this is loads more interesting. And to be able to watch the fish and see what they're doing is even more amazing. There's not loads of places you can do that. Yeah, it really is quite a lovely place. And the facilities are great. Like I say, you've got a shower, toilet, and kitchenette and everything. You could sleep in there if you wanted to. I wouldn't. If I was fishing, I wouldn't. If I reeled the rods in and it was hammering down, I thought, oh, I've had enough now. I'd go and sleep in there. But not when you've got the rods, just because of the weed. You've only got to go out in the boat and have a look. Hopefully I'll be able to put something half decent together with all the footage I've got. But the weather keeps changing. You get the drone out and then it's cloudy, and then you go snorkeling and it gets cloudy and it starts raining. It's like, it just keeps changing. But people will come out here and have really good weeks fishing in the coming months, I'm sure. But if you're the sort of person who keeps asking, how many 40s in there, how many 50s, how many fish, but don't bother coming. Go to one of the other lakes. And even then you'll probably moan if you don't catch 50 fish. But like I say, it happens everywhere. Horseshoes the same, real moody over spawning, and then it will kick in. When it kicks in, it's easy. Everyone catches and they think they're all amazing anglers. But it's such dependent on temperature. Temperature plays a huge part in fish feeding and water quality, and that changes all the time. So, and that will pretty much determine, you know what it's like when you fish and you can see fish and they're just churning the bottom up. They'll eat anything then. You don't have to worry too much about concealment, all this, that and the other, because they're just on it. And when they're on it and they're going, right, we're feeding, they're having everything. But this interim period, you know, pre-spawn and post-spawn and around this sort of area, it's not my favourite time of year to fish at all, and most people will know that. It's not the greatest time to catch fish, but, you know, I had a bit of time off and I come out and they'd spawn, so I thought, okay. And I don't take them out of the water, obviously, so it's been lovely, really lovely. I'm not bothered one iota if I don't catch any more fish. I'll be very, very happy. Done some nice snorkeling, just watched fish for hours and hours on end. Yeah, it's been epic. And when they go and they're just ripping off and going in the weed, and it's like real heartbreaking. You're just like, oh shit, here we go. And you can't give them anything. You don't want to come in and fish light clutches and piss about and spend 30 seconds getting to your rod. You can't do that. You can't do that. You got to be on them. You got to be on them. And I think that's and muck around, like all my little curves on my chods. Everything's got to be really, really tough and strong. I pull every knot. And I've always done that, and I've got a pretty good catch to land ratio. I don't lose many fish. Right, occasionally everyone loses one in the weed and stuff, but hook pulls and stuff very seldom. But then I take really good care. I always have done. I always loved tying rigs, but I take a lot of care about it and just testing every knot. And when I go fishing with mates, and they're like, "Oh, that'll do," and they chuck it in, or they'll catch a fish and they won't even check anything. Oh, I'll bang it back out again. And again, if you want to run to water, or the fish are really avid, yeah, you'll catch fish. But on a lake which hasn't got hundreds of carp in, and there's not hundreds in here, but it shouldn't put you off coming. I think it's special, and I don't think, if it was mine, I wouldn't put any more in at all. They're only just starting to see bait, so they'll grow, and they're big anyway. So I personally wouldn't put any more in. Obviously, in years to come, when the stock ponds and stuff all get established, then you'll put in replacement fish as they get old and die. That's the same as everywhere. But yeah, it's a special place, and it's really got me. It really has. Like I say, last time I fished King Lake, and that was great fun. That's more traditional, just stick a load of bait out and sit and wait. But on here, it's like you can just watch them and you think, oh, okay, get your head around it. But I am catching them all in the weed. So it's been amazing. Hopefully I'll catch some more. I'm going to watch a bit of telly now. I've got the rods out. Chill out, innit? Holiday. Even though I do love the look of the old school reels and my old air curves with cork handles, which are great, but let's be honest. I suppose if I sent them to Western Development, spent a couple of £100 on each reel, they'd be great. But after using Basias and Techs and modern reels and stuff, I just use them for nostalgia, really. Something else I use for nostalgia, someone gave me a spool of this ages ago, and I think it's awesome for bags. Trigger link. I used to use it years ago. I love it. For little links for bags, I think it's awesome. Just had one on it. Smallest fish of the trip. Caught from over where I've tried to get some footage of them on the lovely bit of reed mace just in the shallows on a little bag. Hard on the deck. When they're on that gravel, if you watch them, I'll try and put the footage on. They're not sort of picking bits and going between spot. They're just hoovering from a spot, and they're not, when they're feeding, they're just completely on the bottom. So I thought a pop up in that situation wasn't going to be the good stuff. So bottom bait did that one, and all these were on pop ups. Fish banging out there anymore, so I'm going to recast both of them, because I think when they're there and these haven't gone off, the two big fish I've caught since I've moved up here have both come from, well, after I've recast again, slightly, little bit further left or right. There's no spots where I'm fishing, it's just in weed, and in some parts it's deeper than others, and I'm pretty sure, because it's happened so quick after a recast, I think it's just in the right spot. And I haven't been clipping up to it and stuff because I'm on holiday, and I've caught a 40, so I'm happy anyway. So now I'm on the road and I'm going home, and it has been a lovely trip as always. Phil and Pascal are lovely hosts, lovely people, and I just love coming here. It's a nice easy drive to get back to Calais from here, and they've got loads of lakes, loads of you know, you can cater for lots of different abilities of angler and sort of lots of different needs. Weedy lakes, deep lakes, shallow lakes, lakes where they're full of fish, trickier, you know, it's great. It's a really lovely complex, and I just enjoy coming over here, and they really look after me when I'm here. Just can't fault it really. Met some more nice people, had a lovely bit of lunch, and now I am on my way home, unfortunately. I'll be back in August on my way back to Switzerland like I did last year, which again was an absolute joy. Just get a few miles under the belt. I've got to go home and just unpack and just do some work stuff now really, unfortunately, but yeah, highly recommend the Domaine de Goncourt complex. It's just nice, it's just lovely. I've had a real relaxed week. Yeah, just can't fault it really. Caught some really nice fish, which is a bonus.